Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Visible Kindness. I'm very excited today to have Indigo Brown with me. We really connected on a lot of similar levels, and I really was excited to get her on the show today. I love what she does. I love what drives her. I love the directions that she's going in with what her motivation is behind the company that she's just recently founded, which I didn't ask her if we could talk about it, but I'm going to ask her anyway, but I know she'll be happy to do that. She's a very smart person. She has a lot to give, and there's a lot that she's done. And like, for example, over 20 years, she's had experience in healing and guiding others. And as usual, I don't know why, but I bring a lot of people on my show that do that. I think it's because I need that. I need healing and guidance. And she's just very wonderful. She loves to empower individuals through self-understanding, motivation, growth, and her focus is on rebuilding mindsets and capabilities, shifting from the limiting belief of I can't to the powerful affirmation of not only I am, but I can and I will. And I love that. So Indigo, it'd be great. Why don't you introduce yourself and tell us a little more about what you're doing, what you're up to, what life is like, and let's go.
Hi, everyone. So I'm Indigo Brown. Most will know me from Ask Indigo Brown on the Small Business Network podcast TV. But I have opened a nonprofit right above Work, Build, Love Umbrella Networking Solutions, or short, WBL Life Choices. We're trying to create an initiative that helps the Chicagoland area, but also teach other nonprofits to think the way I do when it comes to helping a community. It's not just about how we can help, it's what we can help in the areas they need help with. So I'm trying to produce a umbrella type of foundation that allows not just resources, but a ticket token program that allows them to start a program from the scratch and will reach into the surface of getting you all the help that you need along the way. It's a 6-month program. You come in, every week is a new approach towards a ticket or a token, which allows you to get into a pantry or a closet with a graduation program that allows you to get into a warehouse after you have completed the program, and allows you to have your take home with you, kind of housewarming material. We also are trying to produce micro homes through our trades and skills programs that we are in the process of trying to create, as we go. We're trying to reach at least $650,000 to create this resource center for Chicago and whoever is spreading out from there that needs help for homelessness, mental health, learning disabilities, communal. We're also working on those that are dealing with fathers' rights. I'm really big on the fathers' rights thing. I think that, women have a lot of resources, but men don't. And I don't understand why, they should still have the same kind of support. So we're going to be offering those as well. And so the approach is to teach others how to see how we're going about our nonprofit and follow the lead.
Okay. That was a big intro. that was big. That is a huge project that you are getting started. Just the fact that you need to raise over $600,000,
$650,000.
650. So that's a big project. So I want to take everything you just said and come back to that in a few minutes. I want to know. And I'd like the people to know, and the listeners that are people, just know a little bit, know about you, like where you come from, like give us some of your background, like why would you even do something like this? I've worked for a lot of big companies in my life, and there's a story that got me from where I was to that place of doing that. And there's always a story behind what we do. And that is a huge project. And I'm excited to not only see you get that done, but if there's anything I can do to help when it comes to promoting it and getting word behind it, I'm all for it. It is absolutely very much a kindness project.
Yes.
But why don't you tell us about yourself and how you got from where you were to where you are now with that?
So I came from a family who was struggling in a lot of different areas. My mother has a learning disability. And she struggled with rehabilitation and addictions pretty much her entire life. Unfortunately, she is still struggling with these issues. And I can't really be angry at her because she has a learning disability that doesn't show her how to understand that she doesn't need the habits. So all I could do was really be loving and there for her when she needs me, despite how I may feel about the situation. I also have siblings who have learning disabilities. I have cousins who have autism. And I have a godson who also is autistic. That doesn't mean he's, got a disability. That just means he's he's a little different, and he understands the world in a unique type of way. And I love him. So any way to help those that need is a big thing for me. And I was one of those kids that really didn't get much attention. We were lacking a lot of areas. When I became a teenager and adult, I started to realize that every time I went to try to go for resources, I had to do a 360 and still got nowhere. I was sent to so many different locations and so many different places, and I felt like I was back at square one trying to figure life out. And that was really unfair and stressful being a young mom with 3 children at the time. So yes, I have 3 children. They are all adults now. One has opened up a nonprofit for veterans and students. So I'm really proud of him. And that encourages me to want to do even more. It's a follow the lead type of approach. I care for people, and I have always been a healer, and I've always been someone who's been attracted to those that need me, that I feel that by doing this and providing this will help so many people in so many different ways, mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, personally, reestablish themselves back in the world. This has always been just my thing. So I was born with a unique set of skills as well. I had a near-death experience when I was 2 years old. I had another one when I was 16.
Hold on a sec. Hold on a sec. So you had a near-death experience at age 2.
2.
So when I talk to a lot of people about, because I remember when I was 2 very, very clearly. I have discovered very few people remember when they were 2. Because when you're 2 years old, you could still be getting diapers, yeah? Right?
Yeah.
Because I remember, maybe it could have been when I was 1, but I remember very clearly my mother changing my diapers. Now that's a really, I feel like saying bizarre, but it's not. I mean, I remember very, very clearly that far back in my life when I remember that. So as soon as you said that, that just really sparked my attention with that. So you said, just repeat that again. You, at that age, what did you experience?
So I had a near-death experience at 2 years old.
So what was that like? Like what happened? Like to be able to comprehend that and be able to share that, if you like.
I'll definitely. So many people know that I've had many near-death experiences, but my first traumatic one was at 2 years old. Trauma creates PTSD. Post-traumatic stress opens you up to a world of spirituality. For those that don't understand that, when you can see, sense, hear, and feel things that are not of the normal realm, that means you have heightened gifts and intuitions. That happens when you end up touching the crossroads. So when I had my near-death experience, I got hit by a car with my mother.
At 2?
At 2 years old.
Okay.
It was on Halloween. It's a rainy day. We got hit by a car. My mother was pinned against the wall. My mom tried to throw me, but I eventually, she didn't throw me far enough, and the car still ran me over. I had internal bleeding. I broke my hip. I had a crack in my skull.
I remember the broken hips at age. Do you remember that?
I remember what it's crazy because I remember being thrown. I remember being under the car. I remember going in and out of consciousness, but because that was post-traumatic stress, it stayed with me like a stain. And I remember staring at my mom, pinned to the wall, and I'm freaking out. The next thing I remember is I woke up somewhere that I felt like I was in a white space. And I was approaching something that looked like, the golden pillars.
Yeah.
And at
age 2, I'm just saying again, at age 2.
At age 2, and a ball of light came to me, and gave me a choice. I can either go through the gates or I can go back to my mom. I wanted to go back to my mom because I couldn't leave knowing if my mom was going to be okay or not. So I went back, and the next thing I remember was waking up in the hospital.
That's incredible. Remember when we first met? If I'm not mistaken, didn't we visit for like 3 hours?
We did.
Was that us? That happens.
Yes, it was.
That happens. I've done that once with a woman, and once with another guy. His name is Greg Williams. We did that before Christmas. It was like I was booked like a maximum hour when I visit somebody for the first time, but like 4 hours later, it was like a half day. We did the same thing because I just loved connecting with you with just when you connect with someone, it's just like that. It's just great. And it's the first time we've talked since then. So I've been looking forward to this. That's an amazing story. That doesn't happen by
connection.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, absolutely. There's zero coincidence in life, and it's a great way to live. And it applies to us when we're even that young that we have no clue, because God is in control of what is happening in our lives, like it or not. Believe it or not, that's what happens. That's incredible. That's an incredible story.
Yeah, that's one of many. I've had a few near-death experiences. I think the next one I had was I was 16. I was in a car. It was winter time. I was driving the car, and I didn't realize that it was slick on the road. And there was a truck that was next to me, and I'm assuming he was falling asleep. And he ended up hitting my car a bit, and somehow I got like stuck to it. The next thing I know, it started pulling at me, and I was trying to we were on a ramp, so I was trying to get the car to get off me, and I flew off that thing and into divine. I'm telling you, divine timing.
Oh, absolutely.
I flew off and I landed in a whole pile of snow, like a snow bank. Like when the plow trucks throw all the snow into a huge tower of snow. I flew off and went right into that snow, patch, and I woke up in the hospital. That's all I remember.
So is that right? So that's definitely, so it's interesting because when you say, not you, but when that term is used, because I've had near death as well. I've left my body and flown, and just I was completely conscious.
Yeah.
And it freaked me out.
You astral projected.
What?
You astral projected. You can do that when you're having
astral projected. Is that what you said?
So astral projection can happen whether you're meditating, sleeping,
holy cow,
or even in a near-death experience. It's like you're having an outer body experience where you can. And I've had that happen before.
Yeah.
And my last near-death experience when I was having my surgery, I saw myself. And
you saw yourself as in you're in the room looking at your body.
And I'm looking at myself above myself.
If that never happened to me, honestly, I would sit here as a podcast host going, oh, and I'd be thinking, wow, but I've been there, and it is so real. It's not like you're in a dream.
No,
it's not like it's not foggy. It's not dreamy. It's like crystal clear. And I don't know if this has got to be the same, but your thinking is crystal clear.
Yeah.
There's no confusion other than why is this happening? And there you are. It's the most incredible experience.
The best way I can describe it is your body, this avatar. So inside of it is your soul. But when your soul separates from the avatar, it has the capability of seeing itself, feeling itself in an electric way. And sometimes I want to say when you have those outer body experiences, it's like the brain is just recording a mirror of the eyes. So the eye, even if your eyes are closed, it's like your eyes are reflecting your image outwards, and so you have an attachment that's like an umbilical cord that keeps you connected to your soul. Even if you're out of your soul, you're still connected through an attachment. But the minute that and it can happen, get distracted or something calls you, that's why you have to constantly stay prayed up and stay faithful and keep your meditation beliefs to keep yourself and your spirit healthy. Spiritually healthy, because entities can come and pull you outwards, and then you will become an empty vessel that can be controlled through entities.
I completely relate to that, and that is so interesting. So I didn't mean to go into that.
No, you're good. You're good.
Down that trail.
We do this often.
It's such an interesting topic. I like how you described that as your body being an what did you call it again?
It's like an astral projection. It's like
Yeah.
an umbilical cord. It's attachment. You can't detach from yourself, but you can get lost in the astral realms.
Right, right. That is so interesting. Yeah. The power of what's in the spirit realm is unfortunately in I shouldn't say that, but you either believe it or you don't believe it. It doesn't matter if you don't.
Yep.
It does not matter if you don't. I'm the kind of person where I don't have all of the uh, education and experience like you do, and many of my other guests. They know how to describe, and they can. For me, it's just experiences I've had, and they're real, and I can't deny them. They're just there, and it's changed my life. I mean, it's
Yeah.
just changed my life because I knew it wasn't. It wasn't just because I was never drunk, never high, never nothing like that ever. I was always straight.
What a lot of people don't understand is that when you are not keeping a healthy spiritual and mental habit,
Yeah,
you get distracted and your body, like your soul can literally leave you if you don't take care of your mental,
yeah.
physical, emotional, spirit.
I love the how what you've done with your life and your experiences when it comes to those kinds of things is you've helped other people in this process in their lives,
Yes.
helping them rebuild and reestablish who they are. That's what you've done so much, and you've trained and you've given of yourself that much for many years. And I find it interesting that you're looking at doing what you're doing now. So how did you go from the type of work you were doing? Because if I'm not mistaken, when we met and we talked, this idea that you have now that you're working on, was it there? Were you already planning it?
So it was already there in plans. I have been in dormant for 25 years.
It's a long time, Indigo. I'm just telling you, it's a long
I ended
time.
up being a mommy when I was 16 years old. I had my first child.
Oh my
And
gosh, you were
yeah,
young.
yeah, I was young.
You look young right
Young and
now. I'm telling you
stupid.
that.
I would say
Did
I
you
was
get
young
that?
and young and dumb. When I
Indigo, did
was,
you hear what I said?
what was that?
I said, you look so young right now. I look at you and I go, you've had children? You got to be kidding me. You look
Yes, I do.
young and you
I
look
have adult
great.
children. Thank you. Much support. Thank you. But yeah, so it was already something that was already planned. My husband was actually the one that wanted to start the OTJR Browns and Company Herbal Remedies. And he was trying to do it mainly for me at first because of all the health issues that I was struggling with. So I have a lot of different health issues, but I'm a predominantly healthy person. So I don't have anything that is diabetes or high blood pressure, those type of things. I have an autoimmune disorder that thinks it's doing something it's not supposed to be doing. So it's my body's literally trying to kill me. And so I was taking so many different medications that were making me worse than instead of better. We needed to find a new approach. And my husband was the one that says, well, maybe we should try something that's more herbal. And I was like, I don't think that's a bad idea. So we
Yeah.
started tapping into the herbals. Then we started to learn a couple of things, and I started to try a bunch of different things. CBD seems to help the most because I have an abnormal heart. I have an enlarged left ventricle. I suffer from 4 different kind of seizures, a lot because of what happened to me when I was 2 years old.
No kidding.
Yeah, and I have nerve damage in about 84% of my body. So I'm in pain all the time. I look a lot better than what I feel. Trust me, I say this very often.
So do I, Indigo. I
Like
did the
what I've
same
been
thing.
through.
People think I'm healthy and this and that. And I'm like, no, I'm not.
You make it look good. That's all.
Yeah.
So herbal was just the thing that we had just got into, and we started to, work on products and, edibles and stuff like that. But then we realized there's more an initiative that we want to go about doing. He was more of intending towards me just doing my thing, and we'll worry about, the herbal company a little bit later, which is why we closed the LLC to open the NFP, because we can still do the LLC for our herbal company, but we're going to do the nonprofit first, and then we'll kind of wing it so that it collides with each other, so
Okay.
that we can reopen and establish the herbal company. because we're trying to help in a lot of different ways, not just, mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, but also health. And so that's our big thing. But people don't know who I am. I've been stuck inside for 25 years. My children are grown, and I've been teaching for all these years at home, privately, or, when I randomly come across people on the street that, want to sign up for my services. I'm an ordained minister, so I can marry, bury, and baptize.
I didn't even know that. We met for 3 or 4 hours and you didn't even tell me that. That's a big deal. Or did you? You might have told me and I forgot. That's part of who I am.
Don't worry. I have those issues too because of the seizure, so I don't feel bad about that. You're not coming there. My memory's always got some issues.
Well, that's really something.
Shut up. So that was kind of like the approach, is to open the non-for-profit, then do the LLC for the herbal company again. So I am an ordained minister. And I'm also a lifestyle coach, I like to call myself, because I take everyday coaching and kind of give it an interactive approach with lifestyle skills. I like to turn your life into a game, per se. And I'd like to get you to reenact a couple of things when it comes to you and your life. If you had to be the producer of a movie and the movie was your life, you have to write the story, the script. You have to get an actor, which is you, to act it out. And you have to be the director, which is the person that's going to control how the play goes for your life. So you can only hold yourself accountable and responsible for the things you're going to say about you and the life that you're going to live moving forward. Whatever happened in the past, that's in the past. It's past tense for a reason, because it's it already happened. Leave it there. If it serves no purpose, it has no place. No one has the right to keep you hostage to your baggage, your burdens, or your labels.
No. And I like how you said that, because I think a lot of people, that's hard to really just. It's like a denouement. You know what that is? Denouement is like when you write a story. It has a rising action. It has a denouement, which is the top of the story, and down. It's like Star Wars. The story of Star Wars. It's like the way movies are made. But I was thinking about how that in the documentary I'm making of my own life, when you started saying that, I'm the only one in it, but I'm having to play different roles. I'm going to be the narrator that's talking about this, but it is me. It is my life, but I'm not emotionally connected and attached to what I'm saying, maybe to a minor degree, because this is my life. And then all this stuff I've filmed is going to show. And I was just thinking about what you said. It's so funny. I don't know if this is a good way to do a podcast, but everybody that comes on my show, I'm getting such benefit from it for myself on a personal level. So anybody listening to this, listen, because you can get benefit from it. But I've learned how to grow and heal from that. Anyway, I just appreciate what you're saying. Anyway, keep going. Did I interrupt you so much?
No, you're fine. You're fine. I love this interaction with you. I think that's why we talk forever. But when you can identify the things that are going on in your life, you can better understand how to move forward. Like, people don't understand that trauma and spiritual gifts go hand in hand. I'm sorry, but that's if you don't agree, then don't agree. But that is how it works. Trauma opens up spiritual gifts and abilities. It allows you to understand things on a 5D dimensional understanding.
Let's go. What is that?
The 5D understanding just means that, so when we're children and we're learning and we're growing and we're understanding things, we're sponging everything around us. And people don't also understand that you're living a 3D life right now because you're in this avatar and you're just living a script called your life. And a lot of people like to hold you hostage to who you were, a version of who you used to be.
Right.
But when 5D happens, you become a new person. There's different stages and phases in life. There's different growth spurts and roles that you play in your life from the moment you're a child being born up until adulthood. And what people don't understand is when they think of past life, reincarnation, yes, these things are real. Maybe not in the way you understand them. Technically, I have already lived many lives in this existence I'm living right now. I've had many phases. I've had many reincarnations.
Whoa. So you have lived, you're talking to a guy recovering from a brain surgery. You have lived many lives in this life.
Yes.
Because I don't believe in reincarnation, as in I used to live somewhere else and now I'm here.
That's true too. That's true.
But I don't believe that though, because it doesn't. That's not something that's in. And I'm just a Bible guy, right? I'm like a, Genesis to Revelation Bible guy, and if that was in the Word of God, I would believe it, but I can't find it. It's minor in our conversation,
Yeah.
But I certainly see constant renewal and change of who I am as I continue to grow, and I get to know the Lord more and more and more.
Yes.
I'm like transforming from one life to it's like, wow, I am living a different life, but it's in this life. Anyway.
So in the Bible, it talks about how Jesus came and helped multiple different people become a new version of themselves. They even changed their names. I changed my name.
Right.
My name has been changed. I changed it about, I want to say about 6 years ago. I stepped away from the person I was and the family I was born into, and am stepping into the person I'm supposed to be, and stepping towards the family and the soul tribe and the community of people that are better for me. Just because you're born in your family doesn't mean you stay in your family. Sometimes they're here for lessons, blessings, and curses. They're different phases in your life, but from childhood until adulthood, we're constantly maturing into our divine purpose, our divine presence, who we're supposed to be. So that 5D realm, and what we were talking about a second ago, on how you could be different people. And I mean, technically, yes, because energy is fluid. Energy is, once you leave this body, that 12-pound of matter disappears from your system and goes into the ethers. And, you don't know what you'll come back as or who you'll come back as. A lot of the time you'll notice that if a family member dies in the family, a child is born in the family at the same time. Usually because sometimes it's a Jacob's ladder. Someone has to come back to learn a lesson. So while you're living in this life, you're going through different phases. You grow and mature, separate, and peel back the onion called, the old version of you. It's like you're unzipping and unpacking an old version of yourself to allow new energy, new experiences, new patterns, new habits, new realities and understanding. And your whole reality can shift if you can just shift the way you move in life. Thinking, speaking, understanding, behaving, responding, it's all going hand in hand. So when you can better understand who you are on a deeper level, and I say this in a deeper level because a lot of us are struggling with trauma, and a lot of us are dealing with past things that we struggle to not think about, imposter syndrome, internal stresses, paranoias. And so we have to shed those skins. And sometimes it starts with just telling us on a regular basis, you get up, you look in the mirror, you brush your teeth, you wash your face, and you say, I love you today. How are you today? Are you in a good nature today? I can today. I will today. And I am today. You have to constantly tell yourself on a regular basis, I am, therefore I am. I exist because I exist. I am who I am because I was meant to be who I am in this divine moment. And you just move as if today is a new day. We're not thinking about yesterday and the week,
that's right.
And we're not thinking about ahead and forward because that hasn't happened yet. Only focus on what you're in control of at that moment. You plan your day accordingly for the things that you can really, get into that day, and don't worry about anything else. My car won't start. Then don't stress about it. There's no point on stressing about it. It's not that important. Figure it out, or you'll be surprised. Don't stress out about it, and then the Lord will send you somebody that's going to help you fix the car.
Well, and there's a reason why everything happens. There's a reason why that car won't start.
It's saving you. You never know.
Has a reason. Every single thing. That's why I don't stress out anymore about anything. It's amazing. Anyway, you and I could talk for hours. I know that. So we've been going for about 30 minutes. I'd like to kind of circle back to what you're doing, because if there's any way I can help, one of the things I love doing with Visible Kindness is talking about kindness. It's a big thing. But I like to have guests come on that are doing things that are in the world of kindness. And I'd like to hear just a little more, because I kind of cut you off with your intro and said, I want to hear some of the past. I want to hear the background, which is great. It's great hearing what you have shared with us, and now you're moving into this arena. So share with us where you're at, and just anything that's on your heart about this project, because this is a big project. And if
Yes.
there's anything I can do to help you along the way, because this is another thing I like to do with this is with my guests. Or I can't help all my guests, but if there's something that grabs at me and I can do something and make a difference, then I will. So I like what you're saying a lot, and I'm curious to just find out where you are, where you're going, and how you're going to raise $650,000.
A lot of work. So I want to say about 7 years ago, 7 years ago, I had a dream, and in the dream, it showed me two companies: OTJR Brown's and Company Herbal Remedies, and Work the Love Umbrella Networking Solutions. I literally had a dream. It was a vision. And it told me to create these entities. So that day, that night, when I woke up, I ended up going to my mirror, and I wrote on a erasable marker on the mirror these two companies 7 years ago.
Wow.
And under it, I started writing down all the little things that I was going to need and what I was going to try to do. So fast forward 7 years into now, I ended up getting a lot of downloads per se. I call them downloads, visions, dreams, whatever, others want to call it. And I'm really big on listening to spirit. I'm very big on listening to the intuition. I'm very big on listening to my discernment and allowing source to direct me and guide me to where I need to be. It's not about me, but it's the process, and it's about others. So whatever I'm doing is not because I want to do them. I'm doing them because that's what source has ordained me to do. So I'm being obedient, and I am moving because I'm being directed to do so. So I'm not going to be hesitant, and I'm not going to lag, and I'm not going to stand still when I'm being forced to move. And every time I move, a new opportunity, a new blessing,
right,
a new thing comes in my direction to help me in ways that I can't even begin to understand. But it's only God. It's only so. And so I literally had a dream. I want to say about 2 months ago, and in the dream, I was being shown that I had to tame the lion. Literally a lion, and that the lion was showing me, like, it was following me throughout this huge thing that looks like an auditorium or stadium or something. Towards the end of this dream, it ends up standing in front of me and just staring at me, and it was sitting there and tamed and happy, like I had tamed it. So whatever this auditorium was showing me is that I have to be somewhere where it's big and in the open. I have to be seen. So with my interactive teaching skills, so I created this skill called Baggage, Burdens, and Labels, a game called Life. And
Sorry, say it again for Mr. Brain Surgery Recovery Guy. A little slower.
So Baggage, Burdens, and Labels, a game called Life.
Oh, okay. I understand. Yeah. I review all of my guests' content before the shows, and I saw that. I was like, interesting. This is very interesting.
So the way that this game approach goes, and it's another reason why this
is a live game, right?
It's an interactive live
game. So you hear that, everybody? This isn't just a game, social media game. It's very interesting what you've developed here.
Yes, it's an interactive lifestyle skill game that others get to interact. So for this one, it's about 12 to 15 people. They sit in rows of chairs, and there's going to be barriers, and there's going to be road closings, and there's going to be all kinds of distractions along their path.
This sounds awesome.
At the same time, the person who's playing the main role is going to be wearing a mask. This mask has something that is written on its forehead. They will not be able to see until the end of the gameplay, because then there's major decisions. In the process of them going through the gameplay, they are picking up baggage, burdens, or labels from the people who are playing part of the game per se. They write down on pieces of paper the baggages or burdens they may be dealing with. And for the ones with labels, discriminating words or feelings that have been told to them that they kind of carry with them.
This is brilliant.
By allowing them to be able to, so the person wearing the mask is the redeemer. They walk around to everyone, letting them release their baggage, burdens, and labels that they will carry along the road. By them entrusting them with their baggage, burdens, and labels, they are released from those hindrance. Towards the middle of the game, I will meet up with them, and I'm the savior. So I will give them a choice to either carry the responsibility on their own or take some help. Whatever they choose to do will show me a lot to understand what kind of person they are. Are they a person that doesn't have problems with letting other people help them, or do they struggle with allowing others to help and they think they can always do it by themselves? At the end of approaching this, the gameplay is ending. They will be presented with a mirror ahead that will then allow them to release what's being on their mask. It says not the real me on the mask, but they won't know that till they get to the mirror and they see all the labels they're carrying and read some of them out loud. And then see how the bag that they're carrying the whole time, that is carrying the baggage, burdens, and labels, is feeling. So they can understand the weight that they have to carry for others, even in the moments that they are dealing with their own things. That doesn't mean that I'm not asking them questions along the way.
Sure. Yeah.
So then they have the approach to either let it go at the finish line or move to a circle in a distance with bags around it. Just because you thought you can get rid of it doesn't mean it's not still there. So my approach is to get people to really understand their choices, their circumstances, how they feel, what they think, how they move, their next step, along the way of picking up everyone else's baggage per se, and still functioning as a normal human being. So I'm going to take this life skill and I'm going to start bringing it into the library so that others can interact with this gameplay, real life gameplay, to better understand themselves as well. I will be giving out resources at the end of that for them to understand themselves, and as well as, resources to how, the community and so on and so forth. That's how I draw people into who I am, what I do, and how I can help. Once I gain that traction, then I can start pushing more content towards getting people to really understand what the NFP is, because by me going into libraries and getting into these centers that allows me to do this gameplay, others will be interested in me and what I got going on. And that's how I start to get the funding. It's just me doing God's work and letting God do it.
Let him do it. Yeah. Wow. This is amazing. So what is the, because we're coming close, we are close to the end here. Yep. What is the, I always like to ask, what kind of a kindness statement or kindness, what would you like to say when it comes to kindness based on, what we've talked about today and what will make a difference in people's lives? And it can be at any level. It's such a big topic, but what comes to your mind that you'd like to share with people who are listening to this?
When it comes to kindness of all forms, you have to be understanding of others. Everyone's going through something, and it's nicer to be kind than not, because your kindness can help someone who is struggling mentally, physically, emotionally, or spiritually. And your kind words and kind gestures and actions might actually save them in the long run.
Yes, I agree. And you know what? We could even say, and this is a big one, even when it comes to politics and culture.
Man,
we don't have to dig into the depths of it. Let's be kind on the top level, and it's not like we're being it's not like there's like I've had conversations with people where the conversations just get so horrible, and they're like they refer to just kindness like it's not something that makes a difference. Might as well just talk about that because it's like whatever. And I'm like, I don't say it, but I'm thinking you're not even getting it. We don't need to go into these depths of conversation. We could because I've talked to people, like when I was home for Christmas, I talked to he was a stranger and he was a maintenance guy, and we were talking about politics. And I'm perfectly comfortable doing that. Like I'm perfectly comfortable talking about my faith in Christ, and I don't try to force what I believe in on somebody else. But it was an intense conversation. Of course, it would be. or Trump, he's again. Oh my gosh, he went like this. But at the end, I said, you know what? And this is where kindness came into that heavy duty conversation. And you can't do it on social media. Forget it. Forget it. I said, you know what? There's a lot of things you're saying that I completely agree with. Like, I'm
Right.
totally on your side, and that makes total sense. And I said, there's no way that any one individual is going to have all the right answers and do all the right things. I really like what you've said, and you could see him lighten up, And he said, well, yeah. He said, thank you. He said, I'm kind of, so he said the same thing back to me, I'm kind of the same way. He says, I don't agree with everything you said, but there are some things that are really, really good. And then I said, you know what? The best thing about this conversation we just had is what we just said. And we shook hands and we became friends. Like, let's stay in touch. And that's what it takes. It's not like, I'm right, you're wrong,
Yeah,
and
no.
bad, and this is good. That's not how it works. You need to be able
Hate
to.
is not a thing.
No, it's not.
It's not. And it's not a pretty look.
No.
Like, it's okay for someone to have thoughts and opinions and personal feelings.
Yes.
But you shouldn't bash anyone just because they don't
You're
have
wrong.
your thoughts
You're
and your
wrong.
feelings and your emotions towards something. That is your thoughts, your feelings, and your emotions.
That's right.
We're all our own people. We all think for ourselves, I hope. And we do what we do. Like, politics and I think religion is two things that people struggle with.
Yeah.
Everyone always, I'm right, you're wrong. How about no one's right and no one's wrong? How about we just live and help each other where we need, in those areas where we're lacking, and let the game of life kind of do whatever it's going to do, because we have no control over the game. And the simulations tend to change very often. Every 30 years, a new simulation happens. And it's just a way of seeing the world and how it works. Politics and religion go hand in hand with that. I'm sorry, but I am not sorry. And I'm a pastor. I'm a minister. So it's like, people don't tend to understand that we can't control anything. It's not for us to control it. It's just for us to live, be happy, and stay out the way.
Yeah. Yeah. We are called to love and to be kind. The Bible actually says, it's interesting because if you don't believe in God, they use one of the scriptures. People use one of the scriptures that says, love your neighbor as yourself, which is fantastic. Right. But the full verse of that says we are to love God with all of our heart, all of our soul, and all of our mind. Now that's a heavy duty statement in itself. Heart, soul, mind.
That's right. That's what we created.
Exactly. Then love your neighbor as yourself, and that's a completely different situation. And that's what can really change the world. But it takes loving God first in the midst of all of this first. And not everybody's going to get that and understand that. We will live this journey through until the end anyway, because it always is. It's never perfect. But Indigo, I want to say, I am so grateful that you came on the show today, and we've been planning on this for a while. I'm glad I ran into you. We definitely got to do this again down the road once you get things launched. And if there's anything I can do to help promote the show, or just the show, the nonprofit, or just to hear from you again as you open the doors and get that going. Because with Me Too What Now, I formed that as a nonprofit. And I know the work that it takes to do that, and it's great. And I love hearing your approach to it, and I just love who you are as a friend. I really appreciate you being here.
Thank you. The best thing that I can say to help me with making all of this happen is definitely like, follows, shares. Even take a chance to look out for WBL Umbrella Networking Solutions / Life Choices, or the SBN. And look for me under Ask Indigo Brown. You'll be able to find a lot of what I got going on if you just look me up. You can even Google me, Indigo, middle initials N / Divine Brown. I have a hyphen in my name because I am married. But if you can look me up on Google, you'll be able to find everything I do, all that I'm connected with, and how to get in contact with me as well. Or the easiest way to find me as well is you can go to the sbntv.org.
And all of that will be in the video presentation and in the audio. I'll put it all down there. We'll do that.
Love it.
So good to see you.
Same.